Hello, my name is Alvin Shepard Jr. I am a sophomore, and my major is elementary education. Today I would like to talk about how to become a public school teacher. Congratulations! You have now received your high school diploma. Your mom and your dad, your family and friends are very proud of your accomplishments that you made. Now it is August. Now you are attending your dream HBCU or PWI, and you have a burning desire to teach, but you don't know what are the requirements of becoming a public school teacher. Well, today I'm here to inform you on how to become a public school teacher. First, I will tell you about taking the practice core test. Next, I will inform you on the classes that are required at your local school or university or college. And finally, becoming a certified public school teacher. Practice core. What is practice core? Practice core is made up of 3 test skills, which is math, reading, and writing. In order for you to pass practice core, you must take the math, and the score must be 142 or higher, reading 156 or higher, writing 158 or higher. This is very important. In order for you to stand in front of a classroom, you must take practice core. If you do not take practice core, you cannot stand in front of a classroom. Next, I'll explain to you about classroom requirements and course and classes. Here are some examples of the classroom courses that are here at Benedict College. You have classroom management, science and health education, practicum, history and philosophy, and student teaching. And for student teaching, mostly you have to go to a local elementary school and have to be there for 5 weeks, 5 or 10 weeks, to get a feel of what it's like to be in a classroom and what's it like to be an educator as well. And finally, now you have graduated your PWI or your HBCU, you passed practice core, and now you are ready to go into the school and teach. Here are some questions that are best to ask for yourself. Which school district is best for me? What are the benefits required within that school district? And what are the contracts like at their school district as well? And here are some examples about being an educator as well. And this is a program that I'm also in. It's called Call Me Mr. Call Me Mr. program is a program where African American male students would like to teach in the elementary school as well. And here are some more pictures. And this is a prime example of classroom management. I had the opportunity to go to Clemson University and teach a local class on 4th and 5th grade language, art, and math class. And this is the class that I had, and these are the students that I present my work towards to. I also volunteer at the Carver Elementary School where I do my practicum hours and student teaching as well. While at Carver Elementary School, it teaches me about classroom management as well too. And there are some more examples about classroom management. And because of the practice core, not only the practice core, but the practicum hours and student teaching, I was awarded for Distinguished Service Leadership in 2007 at the local camp that I did my internship at as well. And before I leave, I would like to leave a special chant that I learned at Anderson University at the internship. And it reads, "Today I pledge to use my head to think responsibly. Yesterday is in the past, and today is a new day. I am unique, and I have something to offer the world. I will not let what I see dictate what I be. Success is my goal, and only I define that. Respect, honesty, and hard work is what I display. I will be better. I am better. I am enough." And this is my presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Asante Hawkins, and today I will be talking to you about pertussis. First, we're going to start off with what is pertussis. Imagine your newborn infant coughing uncontrollably and you don't know that the whooping cough is common in newborns. More than 200,000 children were affected with pertussis each year. In the pages of Reader's Digest, Paul Deckroff, a Grand Rapids native and author of the best-celebrated Grace Elderly and Dr. Pearl Kendrick, celebrated their pertussis research in order to create the vaccine. Although some people may not be informed about pertussis, it spreads through air contact and can make a young child ill. What are the symptoms and causes? First of all, pertussis, known as the whooping cough, is an infectious bacterial disease that causes uncontrollable coughing. The disease usually starts as a cold and a fever. After about 1 to 2 weeks, the symptoms will progress and include coughing, vomiting, and exhaustion. It is important to know that babies may not cough at all, but their breathing will begin to pause gradually. Pertussis can also cause violent coughing until there is no more air left in the lungs. This leads to the whooping sound a person does after coughing for a long period of time. Also, pertussis is highly contagious. The bacterium Bordetella pertussis spreads through teeny drops of fluid from an infected person's nose or mouth. This can come from a person sneezing, coughing, or even laughing. If someone is infected, they are most contagious for about 2 weeks after symptoms appear. However, antibiotics can help with the contagiousness for about 5 days. What are the risk factors and long-term effects? In addition to pertussis symptoms, living in the same household with an affected person and not being vaccinated are two major risk factors for this infection. If the family members in the household have not had their DTaP or Tdap vaccines, they are most likely to become infected. Overall, pertussis can be transmitted to others before the symptoms of the disease develop. Complication of this disease can cause pneumonia, seizures, and brain damage. Also, other effects from this disease are broken vessels and even stomach hernias from extreme coughing. In the body, the bacteria infects the respiratory tract and prevents its natural defense to fight germs. This causes mucus accumulation. The bacteria also populates the breathing tubes in the lungs, causing them to narrow. The inability to catch your breath may cause a child to have a blue-colored face. What are some of the treatments? Finally, each treatment is important for pertussis. The earlier a person starts treatment, the better. If a person starts treatment, the symptoms will have lessened. Pertussis is a bacterial infection, so it can be treated with antibiotics. It's important to take the full doses to maintain the levels in the bloodstream to clear the infection. If someone misses a dose, there could be a possibility that the disease will relapse. It is critical to finish the doses because if it's not, this could promote the resistance of bacteria. The best way to prevent the disease is to get vaccinated. For children, vaccinations start at 2 months. The children can get pertussis vaccinations with tetanus and diphtheria. Next, they will get 2 more doses at 4 months and 6 months. Lastly, it is very necessary to inform others to make sure everyone is up to date on their vaccinations. In conclusion, it's important to make sure that everyone is up to date with their immunizations. If a person has pertussis and they come in contact with a person who doesn't have it, the person who does not have it should be treated as well for it. It is important to maintain proper hygiene by washing your hands and wearing masks if someone believes that they may interact with someone who may have been affected. This research is to inform others that this disease is rarely talked about but should be taken very seriously. And this concludes my speech.
Good morning. My name is Betty White. I'm in Oral Communication Honors. Could you imagine how many people or animals are in today's world? Maybe you're guessing 100, 1,000, or maybe even 1,000,000. Well, if you stop there, it's a lot more. Based on research, there are 7 billion people in today's world, and it's expected to keep increasing. Overpopulation has had a negative impact on the world today. Today, I will inform you about overpopulation. First, I will start with the causes of overpopulation. Then, I will speak upon the effects that it has had on the world. And last, how it could have been prevented. First, I will begin to explain the causes of overpopulation around the world. Overpopulation is when the population exceeds the sustainable size within the environment. It has caused multiple factors throughout the world. The first cause is poverty. Poverty is blamed to be the #1 cause in overpopulation. When people know they cannot have children, they tend to try and try more. Also, when they believe in complications with birth, they tend to have more than one child throughout their families. It is predicted that the top 48 poorest countries will double in size, contributing to the world's overpopulation rate. Second is poor contraceptive usage and fertility treatment. Medical treatment has evolved and advanced over the past years. There are multiple contraceptives provided to help with the number of birth rates. Due to poverty and lack of education, people have not been able to help with this overpopulation problem. If access, it could be provided to most people and they have used them incorrectly and taken advantage of them. Fertility has been a method of birth control that has been taken advantage of. Birth is now granted to more individuals who couldn't have children before this process. Lastly, another cause of overpopulation is immigration. Immigration is someone leaving their country to be in another country. The person may be trying to leave their country because of limitations. When this move occurs, they can cause problems for the next country. Next, I will discuss the effects of overpopulation throughout the world. Overpopulation has negatively impacted the world. One major impact that the world has had is the depletion of resources. Resources have been used by more people and faster. Some people don't need it, but they still take advantage of the resources. With the competition for food, populations can cause a decline for other populations. The result of these actions are called extinction. The problem is commonly seen throughout wildlife population. Another impact overpopulation has had is the technique of farming. With more people and families to feed, farming has increased. Farmers have been using chemicals that are toxic for the air and soil to help them grow their crops. This has caused a pollution problem within the Earth's surfaces. The climate has changed throughout the past years faster than expected. Climate change is the result of the effects mentioned above by overpopulation. The larger countries such as China, India, and the United States, along with others, has caused most of these problems. They are developing countries that keep changing their habits and increasing population. This change has caused another problem, which is called global warming and other temperature problems. Global warming is the increase in average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and its ocean. Although these problems have already occurred and are currently affecting the world, overpopulation can decrease throughout the years. The population does not have to continue to grow so rapidly. there are so many ways to help steady the rate of overpopulation. The first suggestion would be to provide sex education classes to community and schools. And where there is already sex education classes, they should be implemented more. When sex education classes are provided, more people would have a better understanding of the consequences of having sex and how it relates to childbirth. Also, with education courses, contraceptives should be provided. Contraceptives could help the birth rate decrease. When introduced to more people who couldn't afford it before, it could be a relief for some people. It will allow people to be able to do what they have learned throughout the sex education classes in their communities. Lastly, there should be a limit on the amount of resources provided to each family. The limit should be strict and treated fair whenever it's distributed throughout the families. When there is a limit on resources, people cannot find it easy to have children or support them. They would have to do more, and it will be complicated for them to manage life. The world, as we have created today, is the process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. Albert Einstein once said, using this quote, it relates to overpopulation by saying, we need to change the way we think about life as it's given and a main purpose while we're here on Earth. Overpopulation could be avoided today with some changes. A population is needed to make the world continue to progress, but populations should be managed throughout the world. There should be enough resources and respect for the life to sustain on Earth itself. Thank you.
Have you ever felt as though your skin was crawling? That's a question I hear a lot of people say. A lot of people usually say, hey, my skin is crawling, or we feel like something is crawling on our skin most of the times, especially at night when you're in the dark by yourself. Well, when I was a younger girl, I can clearly remember I was watching everybody play double dutch outside. I probably was like 4 or 5. And I accidentally sat down on the sidewalk, but I sat on an ant pile. And I can honestly say I seriously felt like my skin was crawling. Well, I can clearly remember that that's not a feeling I would ever want to feel again. When I got in 7th grade, I talked to my teacher about insects, and we had an insect class. We talked about insects, and she told me that there's an actual bug that gets inside of the layer of your skin, and that bug is called a botfly. Today I'm going to tell you what a botfly is, how they are formed, and how to get rid of them and remove them from your skin. The scientific name for a botfly is called Dermatobia hominis. A botfly is in the regions of South America and Mexico. So here in Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, Peru, and Ecuador, botflies are found. This is a map of the physical region of Dermatobia hominis, aka the human botfly. A botfly looks exactly like this. It is 5.0 millimeters long, and it has long wings, and it has, on the torso of its body is where the eggs are formed. So when how a botfly is formed is a mosquito ends up biting this fly, and the fly ends up biting your skin, or the skin of a rat, or the skin of a dog, or a cow. And once it bites your skin or any kind of host that it feeds on, it takes about 2 weeks for this right here, the larvae at the bottom, to form. This larvae, it can be about this size, the size of a small shard of grass, and about this size, and this is about the size of a quarter or a little bigger. So this is what ends up growing in your skin. So because it grows inside your skin, it gets stuck into the subcutaneous layer of your skin. And the subcutaneous layer, known as the hypodermis, is where it protects your bones from any impacts or any falls. So this larvae is at the layer of your skin where it protects your bones. So these are the little spines that are on the larvae, and this is how it is attached inside of your skin. So it gets attached into your skin, and this is called the warble. A warble is the hole of where it breathes outside of your skin. People usually let it sit in their skin for about 12 weeks, and that's about a bit too long because then it ends up getting wings. and now you have to get it removed. The removal of a botfly can be caused by removing it with a spatula, or removing it with pushing out with your hand, or they can be removed with tweezers. Here's a removal of it getting surgically removed by a doctor. This is a botfly that got host into a female's eye. As you can see, here's her wobble hole, and this is where they're trying to pull it out. Right here is where the botfly has came out and is very large. Usually when it's at this stage, it's a lot of pus and it's very painful. So I could only imagine if I got bit by 100,000 of ants and I felt like I was going crazy from getting bit on the inside of my skin, I could only imagine a larva growing where the skin of my layer is, where it protects my bones. And also, here's another picture of a botfly where it is coming out the side of a woman's mouth. Here is how she got it bitten on her lip. So the mosquito bit her lip, and now the fly has grown, and the larva has grown inside of her lip. And here's one where it has exited the wobble hole and is being removed right here from being removed out of the head of a grown man. And this is the type of hole that it leaves once it has exited the skin. It's usually to get a botfly to even wiggle out, you have to cover it up with masking tape. Some people use castor oil, but you have to block out its air passage so it can wiggle its head out of the hole. And this is what happens when it finally comes out. Overall, Dermatomia hominis is the scientific name for a botfly. A botfly does not carry any disease or any pathogens, but it can be very painful and it can cause pus and irritation within your skin. And it's very important to get it removed within 12 weeks.
Hello, my name is Chanel Leonard, and I will be talking about kidney stones. Have you ever endured the true pain of passing a kidney stone? 1 out of 20 people will experience passing a kidney stone throughout their life. According to the MayoClinic.com, passing a kidney stone can be quite painful, but the stones usually cause no permanent damage if they are recognized in a timely fashion. The main point of this speech is to inform you about what a kidney stone is, explain the cause and effects of this condition, and treatment. First, I will explain what kidney stones are. What are kidney stones? Kidney stones are hard crystalline mineral material, other known as salts, formed within the kidney or urinary tract. Statistics say 1 out of 20 people will develop the kidney stones sometime throughout their life. Majority of the patients with this condition are between the ages 20 and 49 years old. Kidney stones can affect anything from your kidney to the bladder. Kidney stones can form when the urine becomes concentrated and begins to stick together and create stones. Some of the symptoms of a kidney stone is severe pain on your sides and back, pain from urination, cloudy or foul-smelling urine, nausea, fever, chills, pink, red, or brown colored urine. When the kidney stones are moving throughout the urinary tract to different locations, it is extremely painful and intense. Kidney stones can be up to 4 milliliters to 10 milliliters that can pass through the body on its own. I have provided everyone with a handout. Please take a good look at the handout and understand that this can happen to anyone. How is kidney stones cause and effect? Kidney stones are formed when urinating volumes decrease and create stones from the substance left in the kidney. Dehydration and strenuous exercise without adequate amounts of water can cause the kidney stones to form. Kidney stones can form from the urinary tract infections. Numerous medical conditions can create kidney stones, such as the gout, high blood pressure, diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, are just some of the conditions that were caused by kidney stones. Even some of the medications that doctors give you can create kidney stones. Diet is a very important factor of this condition because everything you put in your body can affect the organs. If an individual does not drink enough water, it is the main factor for why stones are formed. Any individual who takes in high amounts of animal protein, high salt diet, excessive amounts of vitamin D supplements, eating large amounts of food such as spinach, chocolate, nuts, black pepper, soy products, and any fruit and vegetables with high oxidant content. Treatment. In many cases, kidney stones will eventually pass through the urinary tracts by themselves within 48 hours. There are no home remedies for the cases of kidney stones. For kidney stones, you have to take time, stay home, allow them to pass if you have experience with the process of passing kidney stones. For some stones with minimal symptoms, the best thing to do is drink plenty of water throughout the day, and it will ease the process. Pain relievers and medical therapy with medication called alpha blockers. Large size stones will have to have surgery. This is just a simple picture of how a human kidney will look that is full of stones. This is an extreme case of kidney stones with very large kidney stones. They are just showing the process of surgery and removing the kidney stones. They can be very big, very large, and thick and hard. And one is about to come out now. And there are a total of 3 in one kidney. And they are all the same size of that one. Okay, prevention and my conclusion. To prevent yourself from getting this condition, you will need to drink at least 8 cups of water a day, especially when exercising and in hot climates. Focus on eating fewer oxidized-rich foods. Eat rich foods with, oh my God. I hope you have a better understanding of what kidney stones are. This is the end of my presentation.
Hi, my name is Elijah Alexander, and I'm a sophomore at Benedict College doing a presentation on the ocean. That is my topic. Under the sea, under the sea. Wait, what do you actually know about the sea? Besides the fact that there's just water and a bunch of creatures that live in it. Think about it real quick. According to articles written by Jackie Keelam, states that there are three zones of light that exist in the Earth's ocean. I'm wondering if you knew that already. Also, many people only know so much about sea life and also what goes around in the oceans in today's world due to the fact that so little of it has been explored. At a mere fraction, but only 10% of it has been explored by human beings. The ocean has always been unique in producing new ways and understandings of what lies below the surface of just what we live on with the land, as well as what happens down there. So I'll be explaining to you what lives in the sea. I'll be explaining to you facts about what lives in the sea, as well as what humans are doing to the sea, as well as what we as humans can do to help from the harm that we've caused. To start, some people may know that the ocean is very vast and covers most of the planet. The planet is covered by 2/3 of the world's oceans. Another interesting thing is that the ocean is full of surprise and mystery due to the fact that to this day, only 5% of the species on the planet have been explored and discovered. For something so vast, it is so amazing that we know so little of it. The ocean has its reasons, though, as to why we only know so little. There are light zones which provide light to the ocean, but due to the fact that all light zones do not share the same equal amount of light, but also they contain pressure, that we are unable to explore these. For example, the epipelagic zone with the ocean provides the most amount of light, which therefore when the epipelagic zone is around during the daytime, we see creatures that survive based on light, such as plankton, dolphins, coral fish, and other species. The next zone is the mesopelagic zone, with very great pressure, with hosts of creatures that rarely rely on light, so to speak, such as sharks, squids, whales, and other species. Third is the bathypelagic zone, or also the abyss, where pressure is very intense, and also creatures down there survive in pure darkness based on bioluminescence, which is the lighting of the body. Now that you know what the ocean is made of when it comes to the life, we will now look at what goes on, what has been happening through human actions to affect these oceans and affect these creatures. So humans are a cause of what is happening in the ocean, and the change is not positive. Pollution is when an area pollution is a very large part of what has been harmful to the ocean. Pollution is when an area is infected with a substance that is harmful, such as when a person throws away a bottle or a can, or something other like trash and oil. The trash is harmful because it floats into the oceans, and the oceans that have these species in it are consuming the trash. For example, this plastic bag you threw away on the floor earlier may be the plastic bag that ends up in the stomach of a turtle that can't digest it and mistook it for a jellyfish. And also, another thing is the oil that the fish can't breathe. When the oil makes it to the ocean, the sea creatures cannot breathe, and therefore they suffocate. When the oil, just as we do when we breathe in toxic fumes and chemicals. So when oil and water don't mix, and one species is breathing in both, it causes death. Another thing is commercial fishing, and commercial fishing actually is something that is highly effective to be harmful in the oceans. When a person goes commercial fishing, it's, oh man, I caught this amazing fish today, it was pretty awesome. But they never think about the fact that once they drop these nets in places that are populated with the fish that they're trying to catch, that other species get harmed. For example, a dolphin could be swimming in an area populated by tuna, and commercial fishing is around tuna sometimes. And due to the fact that the fisher just released the net into the ocean with the dolphin still tangled in it, it struggles and dies at the bottom of the sea with SpongeBob and his friends. Third and finally, I would like to talk about the ways that we can help the ocean. The ocean is able to be helped through various ways, especially when people are to pick up trash and be able to clean up the beach on cleanup days. Another solution is to manufacture oil and keep equipment in optimum shape and find a new way to keep oil from spilling into the oceans. Also, fishing and commercial fishing can be closed off to make sure that guidelines and ecosystems are not able to be disturbed, so that way they can commercial fish in zones that are understandable and the ecosystem is friendly. In conclusion, overall, the ocean is a very wide expanse with many mysteries in it, more than we will ever be able to uncover in our lifetime, but hopefully future generations will be able to make more progress with that. It is amazing that we can marvel in what has been shown to us so far. The ocean is a continuous thing on this planet that needs to be kept well, due to the fact that the ocean is a very important part, which covers 2/3, once I state again. We live on a water-based planet, and water is essential to life. Please keep the ocean safe.
Today I am here to inform you on healthy eating. Did you know unhealthy eating is cheaper than healthy eating but can increase your chances of a fatal disease? According to the Center for Science in the Public Interest in 2010, 4 out of 10 leading contributors to premature deaths are health related. The first key point I want to talk to you about is the reasons why healthy eating is important. Healthy eating is important because it helps decrease chances of medical diseases. Study shows unhealthy eating can cause heart disease, obesity, high blood pressure, stroke, and cancer. According to the Center for Science and the Public Interest 2012, 4 out of 10 leading causes of death was health related. This shows that healthy eating is very important for your lifespan. For college students, healthy eating is essential for better performance and a clear mind. Unhealthy diet contributes to approximately 678,000 deaths each year in the U.S. alone. Center for Science and the Public Interest stated the last 30 years obesity rates have doubled in adults, tripled in children, and quadrupled in adolescents. According to Health Post, what we eat has an impact on our brains. With healthy eating, you will live longer and age better. Healthy eating is not always about eating fruits and vegetables. Many people think that healthy eating consists of just buying, but it also consists of cutting a lot of other foods out of your life. You do not want to be the person that will not be able to accomplish their dream because of a medical problem that is a result of unhealthy eating. There are 3 very important meals of the day, which are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One key way of eating healthy is portions. Portions are rations of your food and how much you consume every day, such as calories. The average woman needs about 20,000 a day, and some male needs 2,500 calories. It's good to stay away from fast food, junk food, and fried food. College students should eat more fruits and veggies because of the nutrients, vitamin A, C, and D. You can also cut down on fried food and unhealthy foods. Healthy eating is staying away from foods that can cause harm to your body. Study shows that people who eat breakfast does not overeat for the day. A result from healthy eating keeps your eyes, skin, teeth, and gums healthy. Healthy eating can help you perform at a higher level than normal. For example, the classroom, workplace, and projects. Healthy eating can help reduce constipation and tuberculosis. According to ChooseMyPlate.gov, vitamin C helps cuts and wounds. Folate, which is folic acid, helps the body from red blood cells. Dietary fiber from vegetables helps reduce blood cholesterol levels and may lower the risk of heart disease. Women of childbearing age who may become pregnant should consume adequate folate from foods. In addition, 400 mcg of synthetic folic acid. Living a happier life can affect others around you. When a person is happier, they tend to be more productive and clear-headed. Being more productive can lead to assignments being turned in on time and more precise. Another great result of eating healthy for a college student is having more energy throughout the day. Study shows how to tend to not make use of all their time because of the lack of energy. Snacks include a lot of amino acids, which makes you sleepy. So if you are eating snacks all day, then your body will lose energy instead of gaining energy. In conclusion, eating healthy is very important for college students because they can perform better in classes and live longer. You should want to save money now instead of wasting money later on medical bills. Healthy eating can decrease the chances of you having fatal heart disease, health disease like heart disease, obesity, or even cancer. We are young, and it's very important to take care of our bodies so we can be able to live long enough to see our grandchildren. I understand that college students work on a budget, but there are cheaper ways to eat healthy. Eating healthy is not necessarily means eating healthy food, but it also means cutting down on fast food, junk food, and fried food. Did you know you only supposed to eat 5 times a day? Many college students does not know that because they are misinformed. The handout you all receive should provide a little guidance to a healthy life.
Hey you, yeah you, right there. Look to your left, now look to your right. What's something you and your neighbors both have in common? Is it your hair? Is it your socks? Or is it your clothes? But the thing you have in common is fashion. Question yourself. Are you just wearing clothes or something special? According to Corey Mulvar, a writer for Allure magazine, on December 6, 2016, the exhibit Black Fashion Designers explored the creative and cultural impact that designers have had in fashion. Today, I will inform you about casual fashion within African Americans. A timeline of black fashion designers, and fashion within historically black college students are my basis for this speech. For my first area of information, I will be discussing a timeline of African American fashion. A timeline is not just history, sports, or world events. A timeline can be a display of anything in chronological order. For example, the style of fashion choices African Americans have had from the 1970s until today. Words like groovy, fab, and funky are descriptive for the 70s era and its fashion. A popular actress during the 1970s was Pam Grier, who was known for her beautiful appearance. Some of the pieces worn by her, as well as other black women, were bell-bottom pants, knitted tops, tied-up button-downs, and more. Next, the 1980s were colorful, electric. Popular fashion pieces were leather jackets, stonewashed jeans, rope chains, shoulder-padded jackets, and oversized sweaters. In the 1990s, they were cool and collective. Items to have in your closet were midriff tops, overalls, hats,
baggy jeans, leggings, and biker shorts. Moving into the early 2000s, silky slinky tops, tight-fitting leather pants, oversized sport jerseys, bandanas, and Timberland boots were keynote items. The statement, "history repeats itself," is applicable to fashion too. Many of the trends and styles from previous eras are now popular again. For example, midriff tops are now referred to as crop tops. Other recurring items include Timberland boots, knitted tops, leather jackets, and more. A fashion icon of today is Rihanna. Some of the pieces worn by her include colorful faux furs, ripped jeans, and mesh shirts. Futurism is an important element of today's fashion as well. For example, holographic backpacks, shoes, and purses. Another element of futurism are alien prints on shirts, pants, etc. Overall, today's fashion includes older fashion elements, as seen in previous eras, as well as futuristic elements. Next, the other important piece of the puzzle are the designers. Fashion designers can be extremely wealthy and sought after. For example, Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Kors, Kate Spade, and more. Yet, most of these designers are not of Black heritage or minority. Many Black fashion designers do not get the praise or exposure that other designers of other races get. Yet, in 2016, the museum at the Fashion Institute of Technology, also known as FIT, decided to dedicate an exhibit to Black fashion designers. The purpose of this exhibit was to explore what a Black designer truly is. Tracy Reese, a designer who was featured in the exhibit, says, we're underrepresented in the mainstream in executive positions in retail and throughout this industry in positions of power. Reese is stating how she feels that exhibits like this are very necessary because, like herself, other Black designers are considered the underdogs of mainstream fashion. FIT did something for Black fashion that many people have not done to celebrate or give credit to Black arts. Next, Kurtu Mamalu is a Black fashion designer who fought through obstacles to get credit for her talent. Mamalu is a native of Liberia. She got her start in design school in Ontario, Canada. Though Mamalu received classic and formal training in Canada, her design aesthetic remains true to her African roots. For example, designing for powerful women in Liberia, such as the President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Kurtu Mamalu has also had mainstream success in the United States. For instance, she was seen on season 5 of Project Runway as the runner-up. Kurtu's stylistic and artistic presence was truly noticed when she used unusual fruits and vegetables as accessories in a challenge. Kurtu is an example of a successful Black fashion designer within a world where there are not many. She has faced odds when people look down upon Black fashion and even stereotype it. Black fashion designers are evolving and growing in the 21st century. In addition, a college campus is more than just a place of learning. It's a place of self-expression. Fashion within historically Black college students is colorful, cultural, and unique. For example, at Benedict College in Columbia, South Carolina, during the month of February, they have implemented Dashiki Thursdays. A dashiki is an element of African clothing or dress. A dashiki is typically a pattern-oriented shirt or blouse made up of various colors. Students deciding to take part in these days show a lot about them. For example, how they represent their culture, also their greater appreciation and understanding for Black History Month, and how to celebrate culture in their own ways. Economics major Cameron Carter states, "Wearing my dashiki is a way of expressing myself. It's my way of standing out." By wearing this fashion garment, standing out will definitely happen because people from an etic perspective unfortunately won't understand the clothing and why these students wear them. Next, fashion doesn't stop at dashikis and African garb for historically Black college students. College students are all about dressing for less, being comfortable, and well put together. According to Bustle, a life and style blog, fashion needs for college students include crew necks, V-neck top shirts, ripped jeans, leather jackets, scarves, and more. And speaking of scarves, this is an all-purpose scarf which can be used as a headscarf, neck scarf, or infinity scarf. Another element to fashion within higher education students are professional attire. At Benedict College, a requirement for many courses like seminars or business classes require you to dress professionally. So clothing for the workplace with a collegiate twist may include colorful blazers like yellow, pink, blue, or even green, paisley suit jackets and loafers for males, pencil skirts and faux furs for women, you name it. So fashion within an HBCU is all about finding yourself and your inner king and queen, and expressing yourself wholeheartedly, whether that's in streetwear or professional attire. Fashion is everywhere in our clothes, our homes, and even our cars. But what is Black fashion? Black fashion is art, culture, royalty, and more. For example, a timeline of African American fashion from the 1970s to present day. Within my timeline, I have highlighted key items of dress as well as style icons. Secondly, the appreciation of Black fashion designers and a detailed look at Liberian designer Corto Mamalu. Next, fashion present within historically Black college students. Fashion is a very broad topic, yet the evolution of African American fashion narrows in on Black people and how we have represented ourselves in the past, present, and future. Overall, the purpose of this speech was to inform you about Black fashion through examples, quotes, and visual methods. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamar Boykin, and today I will be talking about HBCUs. Have you ever heard about or attended to a HBCU? Do you know someone who attend or graduate from an HBCU? According to the U.S. Department of Education, an HBCU is being defined in the Higher Education Act of 1965 as any historical Black colleges or universities that was established prior to 1964, whose principal mission was and is the education of Black Americans, and that is accredited by a national recognized accrediting or association determined by the Secretary to be a reliable authority as to the quality of training offered. In this speech, I will inform you about HBCUs. First, I will be mentioning the history of HBCUs, next, why HBCUs were created, and the outcomes of students who attend to a HBCU. First, I will introduce you to the history of HBCUs. According to the article, The History of Historical Black Colleges and Universities, written by David C. Coleman, HBCUs were created in 1837. The very first HBCU that was created is Chenault University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which was founded by a Quaker named Richard Humphreys. According to an article by Janelle Harris. According to article, a look at historical Black colleges and universities as Howard turns 150. There were 121 Black colleges across the U.S. by the 1930s, and there are 101 HBCUs across the country today. According to research by Monica Anderson, Congress defined HBCUs as established prior to 1964, whose principal mission was and is the education of Black Americans. Majority of HBCUs were located in the southern part of the United States, according to UNCF. Alabama had the most Black colleges as they have 12 HBCUs. Next, I will tell you why HBCUs were created. HBCUs were created to give Black an opportunity to pursue higher education at a time when people of color could not attend to any white colleges or universities. According to the U.S. Department of Education, HBCUs were created to provide education needs to Black Americans when Black were generally denied admissions to traditionally white institutions. According to Samara Freeman's article, The History of HBCUs in America, she's mentioned that black ministers and white philanthropists established HBCUs across the South and to educate free slaves after the Civil War. Samara Freeman mentioned in her article that many Southern states created separate institutions for African Americans rather than integrate their public white institution, in which results in many black schools across the South. There are specific reasons why black students attend to a HBCU. According to UNCF, students were tend to an HBCU for support, atmosphere, and community, in which African American students were surrounded by people with similar backgrounds and the diversities at an HBCU. Also, students attend to a HBCU for scholarship opportunities, as UNCF donates scholarships to 60,000 students each year so they can attend to a HBCU. Finally, I will mention the outcome of students who attend to a HBCU. According to Nick Child's research, historical black colleges and universities graduate more low-income black students than white institutions. Spelman College has the highest four-year graduation rate, with 67% according to the U.S. News and World Reports. On the other hand, some HBCUs are still trying to improve as they struggle with their graduation rate. According to the U.S. Department of Education, more than 80% of all black Americans who receive medicine and dentistry were trained at Howard University and Meharry Medical College. There are many people who attend to a HBCU and became successful. Notable people such as Oprah Winfrey, Jerry Rice, T. Roger P. Hilton, and Spike Lee have all attended to a HBCU. In conclusion of this speech, HBCUs have enhanced the level of education to all African Americans. HBCUs have a rich history and tradition. Also, HBCUs were created to give opportunities to African Americans in a time when segregation occurred. Students made their decisions attending to a HBCU as they provide with scholarships and family-oriented environment. Historical black colleges and institutions has made it possible for African Americans to achieve their goals. That concludes my speech.
Hi, my name is Jeremiah Wilson, and I'm doing my speech on the hip-hop culture. I chose this topic to specify the detailed reasonings behind the new music industry and to inform people how it changes and the different changes within it. And the thesis for my speech is the music industry has many games and twists to it, which means it's a lot of people within the plot twists and, the secrets behind it. And one of the things that I am talking about first is the perspective and the things that they talk about within the raps and how it affects the youth and the upcoming youth, because it's different people who are raised different. So some people are more influenced, like more faster than anybody else. And some of the things that they say can really change the way a person thinks depending on how much they're having like a relation with music. And one of my credibilities was the psychology, the different, like the overtime pattern repeated and how it causes different problems. And within the generation, how we're already like bashed, and the music being an extra push onto the other things that we're already being bashed about. And music to most people mean you know, like some people live by music and some people like they pay attention more to them to what people say, and some people live by the things that they say. And over the time of you know, like a leader being a rapper and them encouraging the youngers to do more things like them, it basically is like speeds their life up to do things that they're not even ready for, which will cause problems and issues within the culture of our black race. And one of my main points was the attention and how they gained attention with the, you know, the girls and the chains, and I don't think that some young people should be influenced by the wrong things, because you never know, like it could be, the music could be the reason that they end up in jail or end up dead or end up want to be something that their parents doesn't want them to be. And over the past 20 years, the violence, the sex crimes, and the women population has got worse and worse, depending on who they have let like within the rap industry. And it's a negative, most of the rap is more like a negative outlook, and like one of the examples are like NBA YoungBoy, one of the people that used to be is Young Thug, and I think the reason why YoungBoy is a menace and he's influenced others to do some of the things that he does, and he influenced them to think that it is okay to do, which is not. And Franklin B. Crone and Francis L. Suzuo, they made articles about the music industry, and one of them quoted numerous young people and minority bunches see rappers as their role models as a result of their capacity and the talk in the street language, which changes how most people think and the way they live. And one of the people who influences some people to do like drugs and, you know, like lean or whatever they call it, is Future. And his song, he has a song called Codeine Crazy, which speaks about Xans, Molly's, and different other drugs that could like possibly cause issues within the community of wherever people is influenced by. And in the mid-90s, leans was just a nearby mixed drink, but after the rappers started producing it to the world, it became more of a popular thing. Like, just like Kool-Aid is a thing that black people like. They introduced lean to others, which made other people think it's a normal thing to do. And doing drugs, I don't think it's a normal thing to do, because it's like downbringing, and everybody knows what it does to people over time. In 2004 and 2011, the Healing Center visits, including codeine-based syrups mixed with Sprite, with 286% of codeine, and over the White House, it was mishandled and undertreated, which means most people wasn't really able to like control it, because it was getting in secretly and underboarded. And I think with them introducing it to the world and the young people made them create more ways to get it to the people who really didn't need it. And my conclusion for this is hip hop has impacted the way of life of the world by exhibiting its hard hitting verses, which means the verses of the raps can be more influenced depending on how catchy or how they make it sound to the new upcoming culture. And my name is Jeremiah again, and thank you for watching.
Did you know nuclear weapons can annihilate all life on Earth? According to nuclear files, when nuclear weapons are used, the after effects on the blast can emit nuclear radiation into the atmosphere. In this case, the jet stream will cover the biosphere of radiation that can end all living organisms on Earth. There are different types of nuclear weapons that can annihilate all living organisms within our biosphere. In this speech today, I will elaborate on how our technological advances can cost the lives of millions. In addition, there are several delivery systems that a nuclear payload is detonated to exterminate the enemy in a quick but in a devastating manner. For example, an atom bomb is a nuclear bomb whose energy comes from the fission of uranium or plutonium. An atom bomb can be delivered via military stealth bomber. The atom bomb is held in the bomb bay, waiting to deliver astronomical consequence to the enemy it's being delivered to. With the innovation of stealth technology, the enemy is blindsided from radar and early warning systems, and the effect could cost millions of lives because of no warrant into the due fact that atom bomb is a nuclear weapon. Another nuclear weapon that we have in our arsenal is the hydrogen bomb. The hydrogen bomb derives energy from the fission of hydrogen, which is a strong chemical compound. Secondly, global superpowers use nuclear weapons as a symbol of power. Most global superpowers use nuclear weapons to intimidate other countries from, let's say, a first preemptive strike, and to keep the countries from invading each other in their respective homelands. In addition, nuclear weapons are relatively cheaper than your average military weapon. It is also a means to protect yourself if a country issues a preemptive strike against another country with their nuclear weapons. The country that is being targeted could also use theirs in retaliation for launching nuclear weapons. In this case, nuclear-armed countries will not engage in conflict knowing the extreme loss that can be generated from an all-out nuclear war. Thirdly, we can prevent nuclear war by changing leadership and improving sanctions on countries who violate NATO treaty laws involving nuclear weapons. In today's age, we have people in leadership who do not make good choices when it comes to establishing peace, especially in the Korean Peninsula where tensions are heightened right now due to non-existent leadership. We can also protest our opinions on why weapons of this magnitude exist in our world today. Lastly, utilize the 25th Amendment to seize our president's leadership roles respectively. In conclusion, nuclear weapons shouldn't even exist because of their astronomical destruction it can cause to our Earth. I believe all global leaders should meet up and discuss the potential of putting sanctions on countries that do not deserve the possession of nuclear weapons. With nuclear weapons, there is no winner of nuclear war because both sides are going to lose due to the simple fact that these weapons are highly advanced and highly destructive. It can be stopped once they're airborne. I believe we should protect our man knowing that our lives could possibly be at stake due to non-existent leadership. Thank you.
My name is Peter Duperrier, and I would like to talk to you all about the history and the evolution of Apple. I would also like to inform my audience about how Apple has improved drastically. Over 34 years, Apple has become the most evolved multi-billion-dollar company that started from the ground up. I would also like to talk to you all about how Apple did not cooperate with the FBI to release information on a suspect. Over a year and a half ago, Apple and the FBI got into a confrontation because FBI wanted Apple to help out in finding information on this terrorist that attacked San Bernardo in December 2016, but Apple did not want to help out because they believe that people are entitled to their own are entitled to their own privacy, and if Apple was to help out crack the iPhone, then Apple believed that that wouldn't stop FBI from using their programming to get other information off other iPhones without Apple's knowledge. Today, I would like to inform you how Apple's main goal is to make our life, the people, easier. First, I will discuss who came up with Apple. Then I will discuss how about the iPhone, and finally, I will discuss about the laptops that Apple made as well. But first, I will discuss who came up with Apple. Apple was founded by two college dropouts. Their name was Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak on April 1st, 1976. The first computer they sold was called the Apple I. The computer had no monitor, no keyboard, no casing. When the second computer came out, which was called Apple II, they were the first one to come out with graphics. From 1978 to 1980, Apple II sold over $7.8 million to $17 million worth of product. That following year, Apple decided it was best for them to make their company public. Steve Wozniak, his net worth is over $100 million. On October 5th, 2011, Steve Jobs died at the age of 56. At the time, his net worth was 10.2 billion. In 1978, he was already a billionaire. And his net worth was over. His net worth was at the time he was already a billionaire. And by the time he died, his net worth went from 31.6 billion. They both ended up leaving Apple at the time because, first, Steve Jobs left Apple because he ended up losing a battle with the boardroom with John Scully, and also he felt like the board was forcing him out. 20 years later, he came back as the CEO. They wanted him because he knew how since he started up the company, they felt like he was the right choice, so they kept him until they found someone more suitable for that position. Steve Wozniak left the company for a few reasons. The first reason was because he felt like they had no respect for his product at the time, and the other reason, he felt like Apple was shifting their priorities. It wasn't how it was being formed. So he left and started he left and joined up, started working for this group called CL9. Secondly, I would like to discuss about the iPhones that came out at the time. Within 10 years, iPhone has drastically changed from then and now. June 29, 2007, the first iPhone came out, and of course the name was called iPhone. It was pretty simple. They had no GPS, no video recording. All they had was you could listen to music, and it was touchscreen. The second phone that came out was iPhone 3G. It had 3G service, and at the time 3G was basically the new LTE. So basically at that time you could you had service anywhere, and it was considered fast service. And 2010 to 2011, the iPhone 4 and 4S came out. It was a bit different because the iPhone 4 and 4S was thicker and smaller at the time, and it had better camera. It had other features as well, but I will not get into that because for other reasons. Then the iPhone 5, 5S, 5C, and the 5S came out, and it was a huge, drastic change within the service itself, because that's when LTE was out, so the coverage was way faster than the 3G. The service was way faster than 3GS and the 3G and the 3GS at the time. The 5C and the 5S was thinner and I guess longer, but they had different features. The camera was better. It was better quality than the 4 and the 4S. They had and also when the 5C came out, it was basically they had different forms of colors with the 5C. They had the red, green, yellow. The reason for all that was because they were trying to make money, and to be honest, the phone was also selling. So yeah. And also I will talk to you about the laptops. The MacBook was basically their most successful invention. The MacBook is a family brand of Macintosh. It's basically a computer that you could take anywhere with you. The first MacBook that came out was 2006. It was very big and it didn't have much. It was just a regular computer with no feature. It was just a big lunk of a big computer. The MacBook Air was released in 2008, and it was basically a smaller, thinner version of the MacBook Pro. With it was 13 inches, and basically it was just thinner compared to the MacBook Pro. Basically the MacBook Pro had several functions with it. Basically Apple created this function called Find My iPhone. Basically, if you were to lose any of your MacBook, your iPod, iPad, any of that, if you're able to get access, log into your MacBook or any device. Mostly people use their MacBook Pro to locate their device. They would type in their information, and if your device is still on, it's able to find what your Apple device was at. Basically, Apple. In conclusion, Apple created this product to make everyone everywhere's lives easier, and now it's just getting faster and faster. That's it.
My name is Clayton Asia here, and today I'm going to be informing you on ways to deal with and how to relieve stress. Stress management is the practice that helps the mind and body handle stress. We've all had days when everything seems to go wrong. You're preparing for work and you spill coffee on yourself. On your approach to work, you get a speeding ticket. When you get the opportunity to work, everybody needs your help. Your day closes at work. You long last return home. You get comfortable, sit back. Then your pets are hungry. Your house is a wreck. At what point does stress end? According to Lipset, in 2008, nearly 3/4 of teachers and lecturers believe children nowadays having more pressure than children 10 years ago. They agree that tests, exams, and family breaking up causes the most distress to students. Today, I will inform you on how to manage stress. First, I will discuss the types of stress, then the causes of stress, and finally, stress prevention and management techniques. Stress is your body's method for reacting to any sort of interest or risk. When you sense threat, regardless of whether it's genuine or envisioned, the body barriers kick into higher products in a fast programmed process known as the fight or flight response. You can also call it the stress reaction, but I like fight or flight response better. The pressure reaction is the body's method for securing you. So if you get like all jittery and stuff, you can either run or fight. That's why I call it the fight or flight response. Stress isn't generally terrible. It can help you perform under pressure and motivate you to do your very best. Be that as it may, when you're always running in crisis mode, your psyche and your body pay the cost. On the off chance that too much of the time can end up feeling fatigued or overpowered, it is a great opportunity to make a move, bringing your system back to balance. You can improve and protect yourself by learning how to recognize the signs and symptoms of chronic stress and taking steps to reduce its harmful effects. Now I will define the causes of stress. The situations and pressures that cause stress are known as stressors. We as a rule consider stresses being negative, for example, a hard work routine or a really rough relationship. However, anything that puts a level of popularity on you can be upsetting. This incorporates positive occasions, for example, getting married, or buying a house, or attending college for the first time, or getting a promotion at work. Of course, not all stress is caused by external factors. Stress can also be internal or self-generated. When you work excessively about something that may or may not happen, or have irrational or pessimistic thoughts about your life, it causes anxiety, which gets your blood to race. Finally, what causes stress depends, at least in part, on your perception of it. Some things that may stress you out may not stress another person out. They may even appreciate it. For instance, you can just have a driving schedule on certain times where you have to do something. It may make you restless and tense you up, but if you don't let it stress you out and just get through it out the day, you'll be fine. Finally, I will discuss the different types of stress management techniques to help us relax. Stress prevention and management techniques are straightforward, like a demonstration of talking up close and personal with another human can trigger hormones that calms pressure when you're feeling unsettled or unreliable. The straightforward demonstration of talking up close can also cause for new friendships to begin. So invest energy with individuals who influence you to rest easy and don't give your obligations a chance to shield you from having a social life. If you don't have any close relationships, or your relationships can be the reason causing your stress, make it a priority to build a stronger and more satisfying connection. Relaxation techniques, for example, you can have yoga, dance classes, or you can practice profound breathing. When practiced regularly, these exercises can diminish your ordinary feelings of anxiety or stress and lift up your happiness. They also help you to stay calm and collected under pressure. Increasing your action level is something that you can do at this moment to assist, soothe pressure, and begin to rest easy. Consistent exercise can lift your mind and set and feel in as a diversion from stress, enabling you to break out of the cycle of negative contemplations. By getting specific and pinpointing the stresses throughout your life, you're one bit nearer to getting closer and making a move. Stress can be paralyzing. It gets the best of us. But doing what's within your power moves you forward and is empowering and invigorating. Reducing your stack of tasks can greatly reduce your stress. Mistake making can actually lead you to your growth. To overcome perfectionism can be more compassionate towards yourself. Stress is inevitable. It strolls through all of our lives all the time. Furthermore, it can undoubtedly mistreat us unless we make a move. Luckily, there are numerous things that you can do to limit and adapt to pressure. Hopefully, this paper gives you an insight on how to manage stress.
Hello, my name is Malik Walker, and today I'm going to inform you about HBCUs. Imagine you're a senior in high school, and all you hear about is HBCUs, but you don't know what HBCUs are. So I'm going to inform you what is an HBCU. And HBCU not only stands for historically black colleges, university, but it also stands for what our ancestors stood for many years before we got here, and what they want us to do, what they want us to succeed in life. There are 7 HBCUs out of among 101 in this state of South Carolina. You have South Carolina State, Benedict College, Allen University, Voorhees College, Clafton University, Moore College, and Clinton Junior College. These are 7 of among 101 HBCUs in the world today. An HBCU is a home away from home. Well, I mean, a home is not, okay, yeah, you're home, you do whatever you want. Not really, not more necessarily. It's about, you're home, you're comfortable, it's a relaxed environment. Your teacher is just like you being in high school. Your class size is small. Your teacher know you by your first name and not by your last 4 digits of your social. And they have time to work with you and understand you in order to teach you. Not only are our teachers great, but our student athletes are great as well. Our football team, they put a show on the field while our band as well put one on in the stand. We also have 2 great basketball teams, the men and the women basketball team. They put on great shows when they're having double hitters in the gym on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Networking. HBCUs have a big networking background. They allow you to meet with different business, school district organizations to help you succeed in what you need to do in life. I know at Benedict they also host a career day where you have different business, depending on what your major is, education major, they have school district. That allows you to network and meet what job is best need for you, along with summer internships. In conclusion, I'm here to tell you that an HBCU is a great way for young black African American males, also female African American males, because it's also a home away from home, and it's an environment that your peers are willing to help you and they're willing to help you succeed. And we're waiting for you.
How often do you hear about the relationship between PTSD and college students? Well, according to Tracy A. Clemens, clinical research, it stated that the prevalence of traumatic events is between 67 to 84%, with a rate of 6 to 17% of PTSD amongst college students. That rate is actually higher than the general population. Students are likely to experience PTSD or traumatic event while attending college. Learning more about the relationship will improve the lives of many students and also target the concerns. I know you're wondering, how does PTSD affect the college students? So let's break it down. What is PTSD? According to Katoda 2012, currently, for a diagnosis of PTSD, the student must experience a traumatic event in which he or she perceives threat to either self or others, and must experience distress such as horror, helplessness, or fear. Traumatic events can range from childhood trauma, medical issues, car accident, bullying, assault, a natural disaster, robbery, you name it, so forth and so forth. Many students are prone to experiencing PTSD or traumatic event while entering college, so therefore it's about 2/3 of college students that either has been sexually or physically assaulted. The rates of PTSD in college students are not often reported, despite the fact that more than 1/3 of people in the United States between the ages of 18 and 24 are in college. The concern of PTSD in college students is to treat students who are in need of help. PTSD can be a debilitating disorder, and its symptoms can have a negative effect on the number of people's different areas in life. In particular, the disorder can negatively affect a person's individual mental health, physical health, work, and relationships. PTSD can greatly interfere with a person's ability to work and maintain relationships. People with the condition miss more days of school or work, resulting in a less efficient work ethic. And also they have difficulties concentrating and problems sleeping when suffering from PTSD. The great effects of PTSD can be maintained and treated with a bit of help, and it is important to help improve the lives of many college students. And helping provide treatment for any form of resources, college students will most likely increase the reliability of resources. The number of effective treatments for PTSD and treating PTSD can improve other areas in your life. For example, if someone successfully treats their PTSD, they often find other disorders or problems at a decrease. Although other conditions may require specific targeted treatments, but it will help move forward. And finding a mental health provider, it may be kind of a hassle, but it is numerous of programs and help that is provided amongst the college campus and elsewhere, maybe in your community. Also, exposure therapy is a key. That is one way that I would like to share with you guys, and that is actually considering behavior therapy, and it has been found to be very effective in addressing the symptoms of PTSD. Overall, PTSD does not discriminate. Although groups of many people are at high risk for developing PTSD, or a traumatic event that will eventually lead to PTSD can happen to anyone. PTSD does not have a roadblock in a person's journey of life, especially if you're getting help with the treatment. Even though many students reported exposure to traumatic events and PTSD, they were entering college and pursuing their goals. Therapy can help a person move forward in life. So, now, did you learn anything?
Let's go.
Hello everyone. Today I will be talking to you guys about the importance of natural hair care. Women in the 21st century are becoming more aware of the harmful effects that chemicals have on our hair. Feeling the need to become more in tune to our natural roots and our culture. Women are doing a big chop where they cut off all their damaged hair and they start their journey with natural hair. Women complete this first step of the natural hair journey and are overwhelmed and start using the wrong products for different hair types. This leads to the confusion of using the wrong products for their specific hair type. Other problems arise months after their big chop with growth retention and problems re-stimulating their growth. Today, I will be providing information found from Garnier, a well-known hair care line, and a website called Nappy Roots, a Black natural hair care forum. I will inform you of the natural hair care needs. Today, I will inform you of how you will take care of your hair. This speech will inform you of how to manage, maintain, and grow your natural hair. First, we will assess the different hair types. Women who are encountering their hair types for the first time are not aware of the type of hair or texture they will truly have. Hair types vary from coarse and full to thin and kinky. Heavy creams heavy and thick creams can drown down the fine hair and moisture and weigh down their natural kinks and curls. Coarser hair types, however, will require thicker creams that can fully coat the hair shaft. Thicker creams may help the coarse hairs have a sufficient amount of hydration, and this will help import hair porosity. This is the ability the hair has to absorb moisture and lock it in. High porosity hair types will maintain their moisture easily, but they will lose their moisture just as fast. Then you have the low porosity hair types that will require more work to get those moisturizers into their hair shaft. And this can help by using a plastic cap around their hair while they're in the shower, and this can help the hair stay hydrated. Next, we will inform you about the different products that you can use for these hair types. There is an array of different hair products that may overwhelm new naturals, and every single one is different in their own way, involving different colors, textures. Shampoos and conditioners are the first on the list. The shampoo that you should choose should fit your hair, and most of them say for dry and dull hair or for thicker hair on the label and the descriptions. This is very important that we try to avoid shampoos and conditioners with sulfates. This will strip the hair of the natural oils. Next, we have our deep conditioners. These are really good for locking in that moisture we were talking about earlier. These creamy puddings coat our hair in moisture and is usually printed on the front that is a deep conditioner. Deep conditioners give our hair a natural curl back and some well-needed hydration. Next, we have our leave-in conditioners. This is for damp to dry hair. It's usually self-explanatory. Spray it in your hair once you're done washing it, locks in that moisture. Serums can also be used to prevent breakage and to prevent further damage that we cause to our hair. And this is used to hydrate, nourish, and grow our natural tresses. These products can be assessed for different hair types. Next, we will talk about growth retention and stimulation. After we have taken care of our hair from our big chop and we have our long, healthy, we noticed our hair is growing at a rapid rate than it was. But this is called growth retention, when it slowly stops growing and it seems to break off at the ends. This can be caused by this can be prevented by different oils and treat growth retention with stimulating our hair growth. Then first we have black castor oil. This is a thick oil that you can use to coat your hair, and this will help. This is also known to help thinning, hair alopecia, and other stress to the follicle. Another oil that we use to stimulate our hair is peppermint oil. This provides a tingling and fresh and clears the root of all other caked up product that we put on our hair. This literally gives the product our follicles some air. Lastly, you can take supplements that include biotin to grow your hair. This is a regular supplement that can be multi-beneficial. Biotin usually comes in gummies, and it also can come in supplement pills. When taken regularly, the results will be obvious in how fast your hair will grow. The conclusion that I have come to is that these tools are used to help Black queens manage and maintain our natural hair. We discover our hair type, we choose a product accordingly, and lastly, we nourish our hair and help avoid heat at all costs. Becoming natural is a stressful time for many. Our hair may seem to stop growing out of nowhere. Do not get discouraged. Those that may become frustrated may give up. But this speech is here to not only inform you about steps having long, strong, healthy hair, but to encourage you from those that are trying for their first time. Never give up. Try new methods and ask for help.
Hi guys, so I'm Okia Durant and I am a sophomore here at Benedict College. My major is business marketing. And so my topic that I'm going to be discussing today with you guys is professionalism in college. Now when I say this topic, it's kind of like, what? Professionalism? Like, yeah, to me that is a big thing and that some of us need to be informed about. So I want to ask this question to you. So on the scale to 1 to 10, how important is it for you to have professionalism? I know, yeah. So when I thought about that question, I was like, well, 10 for me, because I think that professionalism in college is an extremely important thing. And some of us don't really know how important it is to have professionalism. And professionalism in college is a key factor, and one of the major key factors some college students are missing. So being professional is not all about just, but it's also being professional everywhere you go, in the classroom, around campus. Like, I want to be professional when I even go to my professor's office to talk to them. I want to make sure that I'm professional as possible as I can. I want to make sure that my speech is good. That's one major thing that comes with professionalism. That you want to make sure that your speech is even good to the point where like professors know what you're talking about. Professors are engaged in what you're saying. So being professional is an extremely important thing. And one other thing that is very important about professionalism is that we want to make sure that we're dressed appropriately, make sure that that we're really carrying ourselves as we want to. Like coming to college, it's very important that we know that in college it's very important that we are being prepared. College will be preparing us to go out into the real world. So when we come to college, you come in with a mindset that I want to open my mindset to new things, and that professionals will be preparing us out there in the real world. So another major key factor is that college is not like high school. So you come to college, you really are basically an adult. You really are coming as a professional person. So is about it, and that's one thing that stood out to me the most, that I really encourage my fellow peers to really just think about it, like, maybe it is. Maybe I should kind of consider that I need to evaluate myself. Like, am I really being professional? So that's the closing of my speech, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leonard White. I'm a mass communication major, and I'm a junior here at Benedict College. And you can say what you like. You can say that your vote doesn't matter. You can say your vote doesn't count. You can say that you don't like who won the election, but nonetheless, our incoming president is of great importance, not just for us, but for the world abroad. So Politico is a journalism company based in Arlington County, Virginia. They cover politics and policy in the United States. Politico says voters don't care whether a candidate is passionate or cool, but they do care if that style doesn't match the world as they see it. So today we will explore the differences in Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump's acceptance speech to determine their style. I will first explore the sentiment analysis, next the time spent being positive or negative for each speech, and finally the trajectory of each speech. It's human nature that when our values or way of life is threatened, we react in some form or fashion. So let's begin looking at the sentiment of each speech. Much was said during the 2016 campaign trail with heated debates and name-calling on each side. Many Americans had their emotions manipulated by effective and non-effective messaging, respectively, from the candidates down to the final two. So removing personal bias, I'm an independent and didn't participate in this past year's election. I would like to inform the class on the differences of the two specific speeches, one from Hillary Clinton accepting the DNC nomination and Donald Trump accepting the GOP acceptance speech, respectively. Essentially what this is a sentiment analysis of Donald Trump in one of Hillary Clinton's speeches. July 2016, Hillary Clinton gave her speech at the DNC, that's the Democratic National Convention, where she accepted the nomination of the Democratic candidate on the ballot for the election. Clinton's opponent, Donald Trump's speech, comes from his acceptance speech from winning the Republican nominee. So at the GOP, or the Republican National Convention, is where he gave his speech, respectively. Looking into Hillary Clinton's speech, it appears that the emotional appeal behind her speech was, it contained aspirational goals, using words like people, America, country, believe, working, and together, with some of the more common words used in her speech. Excuse me. In her opening statements, it included the following. And for those of you out there who are just getting to know Tim Kaine, you're soon going to understand why the people of Virginia keep promoting him from city council and mayor to governor and now senator. This statement is very aspirational. She is detailing a build-up to get to know her running mate. In comparison of style, Donald Trump's speech has more repeated words, all either about threat or safety. In Trump's acceptance speech, he says, "Together, we will lead our party back to the White House, and we will lead our country back to safety, prosperity, and peace." In closing his speech, he tells the audience that he alone will be the one to save them. He says in closing, "The crime and violence that today afflicts our nation will soon come to an end. Beginning on January 20th, 2017, safety will be restored." As Politico and other established sources claim, Trump the newcomer gains momentum by asserting that the country needs to be saved. Exploring the balance of the emotional rhetoric, or simply put, the time each speech spends in the positive or negative, you see that exploring Trump's speech, we can find that more sentences spend their time in the negative territory. For example, Trump says homicides last year increased by 17% in America's 50 largest cities. Introducing fearful rhetoric was one of the common themes used in Trump's speech. In comparison, Hillary Clinton's speech stays mostly in the positive, trying to uplift, while Donald Trump spends half of his speech in the negative, while Hillary Clinton only spent a few sentences in the negative emotional violence. A quote that exemplifies this, being her common theme, would be when she said, "So I want you with me to imagine tomorrow where no barriers hold you back and all of our people can share in a promise of America." After exploring the two speeches' emotional violence, we can see that Hillary Clinton's focus was more broad and thin compared to Donald Trump's more focused messaging to a specific group of people. The negative versus positive time spent in their speech is also reflected in the story arc. Looking at both speeches' trajectory, we can see that Donald Trump's speech contains loaded messaging in the beginning and towards the end of his speech. It's filled with loaded languages, usually in the negative. In comparison to Hillary Clinton's speech, she shapes her speech trajectory the traditional story arc way, using your traditional beginning, middle, and end. After comparing the two speeches, we can see that Hillary Clinton's speech was more academic, while Donald Trump's speech trajectory was more visceral. What this means is that Hillary Clinton's approach was traditional and storytelling, and is what some Americans claim they were tired of hearing from politicians. Donald Trump, on the other hand, gave a speech that most people outside of an academic area would understand and grasp, which is what one of his strong suits was, what some pundits could say. With his more repeated words and less academic approach is how Donald Trump galvanized his supporters outside of the mainstream scope. So in closing, despite Democrats and Republicans' long list of differences, one thing will always remain true, and that's knowing your audience will get you to reach your target audience and evidently into the White House. If you don't know someone, how can you begin to reach their minds? After exploring both speeches' emotional rhetoric, time spent in positive or negative, and the individual speech trajectory, we can see that Donald Trump has more repeated words and a more dramatic speech, having more time spent in a negative territory, while Hillary Clinton had a shorter speech with bland construction, with more positive rhetoric, but in all, less dramatic structuring. Thank you.
My name is Sylvain Freeman. Did you know 7% of jobs were offered through a social connection in 2016? According to recent studies from the American Association of Medical Dentistry, states that today's society, 80% of the jobs are never advertised, which means that you have to go to an event or a social event or a social network in order to know if the job is being advertised. Today I'm here to inform you how important networking is. There are 3 components on why networking is important: to build confidence, sharing ideas, and creating opportunities. Building company is the first key component because with this skill set, every student needs for any career path. Network can improve and increase a person's confidence because on any given day, you have many diverse crowds and many different people. When you are networking, you are completely introducing yourself to a stranger, and also and it's a possibility of getting the answer no. A student has to take a huge weight between networking because you can get turned down by so many people. But it's also a great way to exert your confidence and make yourself more visible. Networking now today is a big, huge part of the job process. According to Jim Taylor, confidence impacts every other psychological contributor to performance in business. So, for example, a person that exerts confidence is more relaxed, motivated, focused, and has a positive vibe, which will allow a person to perform at their highest. People that have confidence like to share their ideas. In the job market today, CEOs are looking for people who are not afraid to voice their opinion, because your opinion could be the next big idea. And your opinion could allow you to get that promotion that you always want. Also, in order to be a boss, you have to have confidence so that your people that works for you can believe in you. The more confidence you have, the more opportunities will present themselves. According to recent studies, network predicates success and ensures promotions. In today's society, networking is very key because jobs are not being advertised, and when they're not being advertised, that means many college students or many adults would not know what opportunities present themselves. The opportunities are not going to come to you. You have to go to it. Michael Page says, expanding your contacts will open more doors. The more contacts and more networks, and the bigger your network is, the more opportunities you have. Many job fields today require you to have a big network in order to move up the chain. Because the more network you have, the more contacts you have, the more asset and more reliable you are towards that company. The job is not going to find you. You have to find it. People who attend more social events tend to have more opportunities presented for them. Internships are presented through social media. Business opportunities, assistants, they are usually recruited during social events. Networking is used in many job fields today, but it's also another great way to exchange ideas. When networking or going to a social event, exchanging ideas is basically the point of the event. It's basically when minds come together for one common goal, or one common agenda, or one common topic. And when you go to the event, people are not bashful of giving you advice on how to get to the next step. So this is a great opportunity when going out in the network, that it's a great opportunity also to share your idea of what you want to do. Sharing your idea is a great way to show the job competitors or the CEOs of what you really want. Some people have been hired just because of their idea of what their focus is. Network can also help you create new ideas. When that idea struck you of starting a website, but you don't know how to create a website, you can meet a mentor there or advisor there that can help you and teach you how to start creating websites. For college students that's trying to start a business or a program, that's a good way to share your idea, get grants, get funding, or get investors. Also, networking allows the students to get a feel of the job market. What do you need? What things you need for the job, and what will allow you to get that job. Doing networking, there's a very diverse crowd, so you have many different points of views. For your idea, that's a great key, because you want your idea to be able to help everybody, not just one single particular group. In conclusion, networking can help students grow their skills, which can be used in everyday life. Networking is becoming a huge part of the job market today. Through networking, you can also find your dream job. It can also have you a better understanding of who you are, what you want to do, and what you want in life. Networking also shows how comfortable you are and also gives you a chance to step out your social circle. Many businesses are sending recruiters out to find new and upcoming talent. They are looking for you. You just have to show up. These skill sets can help you through life. So try to network. All right, I'm finished.
Hi, my name is Tamia Butts, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about teen suicide. When you hear teen suicide, you automatically think of a teenager killing themselves, but the question that always remains is, what caused a teen to commit suicide? It's usually either something that happened or someone behind the cause of it, or maybe it's depression. Depression in teenagers is the biggest risk factors in teen suicide today, but what makes a teen go into depression? There are different risk factors that makes a teen depressed enough to the point that they want to commit suicide. When you hear a teen say anything about suicide, you need to be alert, even if they claim plenty of times that they're fine. You should always be alert because you don't want to be the person. You don't want to be the reason why a person actually did it. In this article, teen suicide, what are the risk factors? It explains to you, like I just said, the warning signs and how you should be aware. And for an example, she used a boy who cried wolf, and she explained how it's tempting to just ignore the problem and how some people just don't take it seriously at all. And now I'm going to talk to you about in college and how suicide can happen there. It's usually because of stress or financial problems. A lot of students stress about school and how they're going to get their work done for class, and then a lot of students stress about financial problems and how they're going to be able to pay back the college. And a lot of students usually end up in debt because they borrow money from school and sometimes they aren't able to pay them back. And next, with high school students, we're going to talk about bullying and how in high school, bullying is like one of the main things that happens to a lot of teenagers. And a lot of teens don't tell their parents what's happening to them. They just try to handle the situation themselves, and sometimes they're not able to do that. And then it may go to committing suicide because they may feel that that's the only way to get rid of the problem. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
So, my name is Tajiana Rivers, and I am doing my speech on the body positivity movement. So, in many cases, the awareness or brought the attention to the fact that many people have committed suicides, hate their bodies, or have received a lot of backlash because of their body type, shape, or shade. But in response to that, many people have risen up to come together for the body positive movement. So the body positivity movement actually started in the early 1850s. During that time, it was more so focused on women. So women were more so subjects rather than human beings. They did not have the same rights as men. But in response to that, many people said, you know what, women can have jobs, women can wear pants, women can say more, have more of a voice. But during the 1960s, the shift changed from women liberation to more so focusing on fat shaming. During that time, doctors, physicians, people in the medical field put the idea into people's minds that you had to be thin to be healthy. But in response to that, Dr. Lordenberg wrote an essay stating that more people should be fat, saying that being overweight is not in direct relation to health problems, but that you should take in consideration cholesterol, eating habits, diabetes, blood pressure, things like that before you specifically target a person's weight. So he definitely said that more people should be fat because he even introduced healthy at any body type or healthy at any weight model. So in the image, I have women men of all shapes and sizes, because Dr. Lordenberg, he explained that it does not matter your weight, but you can still be healthy at any weight as long as you have good, healthy habits such as eating well and having good physical activity and exercises, etc. But that was the purpose or the spotlight in the 1960s. But we don't see much of that in today's body positivity movement. So you see many people on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they have so much to say about the body positivity movement. For example, I'll give Passion Jones. She is a body positivity advocate, but she specifically targets plus size women. So she uses her YouTube channel and she uses her tagline, "Stay plus size and beautiful, Passion Jones." But unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily target thinner people. So then the shift changes. Why are we not saying, okay, you can be thin and beautiful and big and beautiful? But even Essie Golden, she hosts a body positive or golden confidence pool party every year in New York. But she only invites plus size women. So this actually creates a division between thinner women and bigger women. So even in the body positivity movement now, people shame people for losing weight and saying that, oh, you should not be praised because you lost weight. You should be praised because you love yourself. But this creates this idea that, okay, I can't love myself and want to lose weight. That if I want to lose weight, I hate myself. But that is the complete opposite of what the body positivity movement is for. And it doesn't even stand for what it is today. Because I'll give an example. There was a magazine, and on the cover, it said that how can you lose weight, 15 tips or something like that. And they posted the cover of it on Instagram and all over YouTube and Facebook, and they had so many things to say about it, saying that it's not okay. But they don't target skinny shaming. They don't target how many people receive backlash because they are too small. They only target, okay, people receive backlash because they're too big. So the body positivity movement is a shell of what it should be or what it used to be. It doesn't liberate everyone, but it only liberates plus size women. It doesn't even talk about plus size men anymore. And then it even goes on to shame people that want to lose weight. For example, Passion Jones, she had weight loss surgery, and everyone in the plus size community said that she was a liar, said that she never had true confidence, that she never truly loved herself because she wanted to lose weight. And that is why the body positivity movement is not what it used to be. So, with that being said, at the end of the day, you should love yourself regardless of what your shape, shade, or size is. And you should not try to categorize yourself in one specific category, but you should love yourself overall, accepting the goods and the bads about yourself. Thank you. I want to watch it so bad because I feel like I missed some point.
Hello class, my name is Tatiana Kwashi and I will be presenting you today the sport of lacrosse and its history. Have you ever veered out from what America considers the norm in today's society when it comes to professional, even most known sports? Team size, equipment use, and a duration of games and length of playing fields, but nothing about stick handling, game strategy, or rules of play. Today I will inform you about lacrosse, its history, and how it got to where it is today. I will first discuss how the lacrosse originated along with its history, then how it became a women's sport as well, and finally, many different ways lacrosse is played by both men and women. Let's get started by discussing lacrosse's origination and history. Originally known as a stickball and played by Native American Indians was the beginning of lacrosse. Lacrosse traditionally played a serious role in Indian culture where it was served to vent aggression and settle territorial disputes between tribes. These Native American games were major events during their time with as much players as they wanted to play with usually played competitively as a contest by tribal warriors for training in the St. Lawrence Valley area by Algonquin tribe, then changed with the recreation by religious reasons. Missionaries like the French Jesuits and Huron country with English explorers informed their people about the sport lacrosse. The explorers go into detail about team size, equipment used, duration of games, and length of playing fields, but nothing about stick handling, game strategy, or rules of play by the Indians. The first detailed reports on the Indians' ways of playing were discovered during the oldest surviving sticks. Over time, the sport picked up by many techniques from Mohawk playing to Cherokee play, with the time span of 1869 to 1890. Lacrosse was given its name by early French settlers as a generic term for a game played with a curved stick and a ball. After adopting the sport is where it took its turn in new rules and a new name to civilize the sport in America. Next, the original all-men's sport soon became a women's sport played professionally by many. In the year of 1890, the first ever recorded women's contest was played in Scotland. It was a St. Leonard's School in St. Andrews, Scotland, where the first headmistress watched a game played in Canada in the year of 1884. The game was played between Cahuagua Indians and Montreal Club, seen as beautiful and then introduced to the school in Scotland. The game was played in a field with teams of 8 and lasted an hour between the girls. The number of players increased in 10 in the year of 1895, but by 1913, and to this day, there are 12 players in the field. St. Leonard then began to introduce lacrosse to schools in south of England where it began to spread. The Ladies Lacrosse Association was founded in England year 1912 with international matches following the same year. A former Scottish lacrosse player from St. Leonard's School in Scotland named Rosabelle Sinclair started a girls' high school lacrosse team in 1926 where the game of lacrosse was established in the United States. The school was at Bryn Mawr School in Baltimore where lacrosse became popular. Finally, despite the aggressive name of the sport, lacrosse was played differently from men's sports. The game was played with a wooden stick, lacked protective gear, demarked sidelines of the men's game intended towards mass attacks rather than field positions. The field game of non-native women lacrosse of today's closely resembles the Indian game of the past. Today in lacrosse, the stick is aluminum shafted with a plastic head made to scoop and catch the ball with the objective of scoring in the lacrosse goal. A Canadian dentist named Dr. William George Beers was the man responsible for drawing out the rules for lacrosse as well as reducing the players. Women's lacrosse lacks protective gear compared to men's lacrosse. Women wear goggles, mouth guard, jerseys, cleats, and a skirt with acceptance of shorts or leggings underneath, even a long sleeve shirt under the jersey. Women's lacrosse is a non-contact sport with many rules, one being no touching the ball at all with your hands, just like how it has always been played. There is offense, defense, midfield, and goalie for each team, leaving the objective to score on the opposing team on a field longer than a football field. As for men's lacrosse, being a contact sport, they have more gear but less players. With 10 players on the field, including a goalkeeper as well, there are also 3 defensemen, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackmen. The objective of the men's is still the same as the women's lacrosse, but is a contact sport, which causes them to wear heavier gear. Men wear a helmet, mouth guard, gloves, and shoulder pads, while the goalie wears a lot more padding for safety of course. In conclusion, known as one of the fastest growing sports, lacrosse has evolved so much since it was first discovered over time. being played professionally for everyone around the world to enjoy and be a part of.
Imagine having the greatest day of your life. You have no problems at work so far. You're on your lunch break, you have the best lunch break ever. And before you know it, you get this painful headache. You start seeing kaleidoscope stars in your vision, and you say, there's nothing 3 Tylenols can't handle. However, you continue to go throughout your day, and your colleague notices that you fall. You're laying down in the hospital bed, and the doctor comes in and says that if you didn't make it in time, you would have died due to the silent killer, just that quick. Matthew Alexander said, hypertension is a life-threatening condition that approximately 86 million children, teens, and adults in the U.S. are diagnosed with and affected with. In this speech, I, Tierra Fields, will be informing you about hypertension. First, I will inform you what is hypertension, what causes hypertension, and how to prevent hypertension. Hypertension has 2 other well-known names, such as high blood pressure or silent killer. It's called the silent killer because very few people understand the signs and symptoms right away until they are diagnosed. According to the American Heart Association, hypertension is when your blood pressure, the force of blood flowing through your vessels, is constantly too high. When we think of blood pressure mentally, imagine the heart pumping over and over again. When that pressure is too high, we go to the doctor and we are first diagnosed with pre-hypertension because it's over normal, affecting parts of our body. When our blood pressure is higher than 120, over 180, then it opens the door for hypertension. The higher your blood pressure, the higher your risk of your organs, such as the heart. According to James Beckman, nearly Americans 18 years or older are affected with hypertension. That's 1/3 of the U.S. Hypertension runs through everyone's families, gender, so I'm encouraged to eat healthy every day. Hypertension can originate from lots of things, such as smoking, being overweight, and obesity, lack of activity, too much salt in diet, too much alcohol consumption, more than 1 to 2 drinks per day, older age, genetics, family history of high blood pressure. Keith Burns said chronic kidney disease, thyroid disorders, sleep apnea. Sometimes doctors point out the root cause of hypertension, but for those reasons are determined that seem more apparent. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Alright, so my name is William Springs, and today I'll be teaching you how to make a band. My specific purpose today is to inform you on how to make a band, but you can use this. I'm going to use creating a rock band as my topic, but you can really use these steps to make any band. So creating the band is easy, life is hard. So come rock with me. According to the Ultimate How to Start a Band Guide, they have 5 steps on how to create a band, but I'm going to give you the most important 3, which are creating a business plan, creating a marketing plan, and also networking and scouting. So for my first one, which is creating your business plan, basically what you would be doing is really figuring out what type of instruments you wanted to use in your band. See, since I'm using a rock band, I would say you would need a lead guitar, bass guitar, your drums. On occasions, you'll have a piano or an acoustic, and your vocalist. So after you figure out what you want in your band, basically what you would do is set an image of what you would want the people in your band to actually look like. That way you can have an understanding on what type of clothing line or like wherever you want to take your band, like what type of clothing line and everything, you have an image of what you want that to look like. Also, with you picking the instruments that you wanted in your band helps you figure out what type of sound of music you would like to create. Because there's many types of different rock style type music. Just as there's many different hip hop or R&B type music. Next, with your networking and scouting, basically during this, what you would do is you would either set out an audition basically, and even though this is like one of the most time consuming ways to create who you want it to be in your band, it is one of the most efficient ways, even though like 80% of the people that you're going to see probably don't have talent at all whatsoever. Like we've all seen like the American Idols and the America's Got Talent where like it's like half of the people out here really don't have any talent at all. They just want that little minute of fame. So, but if you didn't want to deal with that, the best thing I would use is social media. Because it's just as easy for you to meet someone in whatever club or bar that plays whatever type of music you want to create your band like with. It's easy for you to just find someone that's playing or find someone that has the same interest in your type of music that knows how to play an instrument, and you find their social media and look at how they play. And you'll be able to tell if you want that person in your band, if they have the image for you, or if they don't. Or you can use the method that Jimi Hendrix agent used, which was he went to different local band shows and he picked off of like, let's say I want this lead guitar player. He would go to his show and talk to his band members, but he would pull him to a side and he's basically stealing the artist that he wants, but it is actually a pretty good method because at the end of the day you get exactly what you want. I mean, and you're also, if you have your stuff together, you're giving that person a bigger opportunity. And last but not least, you have your marketing. Now, this is pretty easy, but it's also another time-consuming thing. And if you have an agent, I would refer you to let your agent do the marketing part. But if you wanted to do everything on your own, then I would say the best way for you to get your band out, it was to do free shows. Now, you're not gonna make any money at all doing this. Like, it's this artist named Nipsey Hussle. He's not exactly big down here, but he is in California. And he actually went on a whole entire tour with the artist, the rapper, The Game, and he did the whole tour for free. You know, of course you have to fund everything, but you're using someone who has a bigger platform to basically build off of his platform and make your own, it's really hard if you think about it, you know. It's a struggle with you being on tour like that, but through the long run, you can really build a giant platform doing that. Also, a best way to basically get your name and your label out there was for you to make a clothing line, because it's like two main rock bands I like to use, which are Def Leppard and Nirvana. You see a whole lot of people wearing their clothing, and they might not exactly know that that's a rock band, but considering that their clothing is hot, a lot of people are wearing it. So what I would do is I would make trendy clothing with my label on it, and as someone buys it, I'd give them a code, or I'd give them my mixtape or my CD and tell them, hey, listen to my music as you buy whatever you're buying. So that's about it. That's all. I hope this video helps you in creating your rock band, and rock out.